When World War II ended, you'd think the fighting was over for German soldiers. But for millions, a new nightmare was just beginning. As the Allied powers celebrated victory, they had big plans for Germany, and those plans involved a massive workforce. At the Tehran Conference in 1943, well before the war was even over, Joseph Stalin made it clear the Soviet Union wanted millions of German workers to rebuild what had been destroyed. Fast forward to the Yalta Conference in 1945, and both Churchill and Roosevelt agreed. German forced labor would be a key part of war reparations. For the German soldiers who surrendered, this meant their ordeal was far from finished. Instead of going home, many were shipped off to labor camps. In the Soviet Union, hundreds of thousands of German prisoners of war faced brutal conditions. They were forced to work in mines, on construction sites, and in factories with very little food or medical care. The exact numbers are hard to confirm, but some estimates suggest that as many as 1 million German prisoners may have died in these Soviet camps. It was a grim, grueling existence where survival was a daily struggle. And it wasn't just happening in the Soviet Union. Across Eastern Europe, in places like Poland and Czechoslovakia, ethnic Germans who had lived there for generations were rounded up. They were seen as part of the defeated enemy and were sent to forced labor camps, their homes and properties confiscated. Even in Western Europe, the situation was dire. German prisoners held by the Western Allies were put to work on incredibly dangerous tasks. One of the most terrifying jobs was clearing minefields. These soldiers, sometimes even those who were considered medically unfit for combat, were forced to walk through fields littered with explosives, a task that was often a death sentence. The end of a war is never a clean slate. For so many German soldiers and civilians, the surrender in 1945 wasn't a moment of relief. It was the start of a new chapter of suffering, a desperate fight for survival that continued long after the last shots were fired. The echoes of this forgotten post-war struggle remind us that the consequences of conflict ripple out in ways we often don't see. Thanks for watching. If you found this story interesting, be sure to like and subscribe for more hidden histories.